Hey there. You guys that like the private stuff, I just went potty. I got my glass of water. I got Kleenex box because I am at the end of a cold, but it's mostly gone, to be honest with you. And we are ready to start a show. Now, if you were watching from last week, uh, I introduced that Ecamm actually gave me voice isolation or noise cancellation. And we did a little test, and Randy kind of zoned it into where it would be set to 75%. And we tested between 50%, 75%, and 100%. So if you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, that's the strength of the voice isolation where it suppresses the background. So right now I have the air conditioner on. I turn the fan on, a separate fan which blows against or across all the cameras in the front of the room. It blows in front of the Canon R6 Mark II, uh, the ZVE1, the Nikon Z6 Mark III. And there's a Z6 Mark 1 or Mark 0 on the ceiling. And I don't think it gets much air circulation up there, but we haven't had that problem. So when you listen to voice isolation, you want to listen for the quality. So it was actually Tom Buck that put up a new video, and he said that my ATM Mini, which I've been using for so long, okay, the quality isn't that great. Now, I wouldn't believe anybody else, but coming from Tom, I have to believe it. So I moved the microphone over from going through the Blackmagic Mini, which I'm not using it for switching the camera. Ecamm is being used to switch the camera, okay, and it's actually doing it automatically, all by itself. So what we have is the software handling it, and now that same software, Ecamm, has added voice isolation, which is something that I'm used to having inside of Final Cut Pro. And in there, I run that one at 50%, and that is also the standard, or the default, I should say, not the standard. And it does a really good job. When I say it does a good job, it does a great job. Okay, you can't even tell we're using voice isolation when I take a video, record it here, and put it into Final Cut Pro. And then when it comes out, it runs through that process, and it does it so naturally. Now, Ecamm has added an Apple version. Now, Final Cut Pro is made by Apple. A-P-P-L-E. Apple makes the very best chocolate. Well, not close, but no cigar. Okay, so I figured this would be something really good. Now, Tom Buck, who seems to be making all the rules around here tonight, also said that not only my Blackmagic ATM Mini was not the best sound, but that the the sound coming out of Ecamm with the voice isolation was also not of the super best quality. So I gotta pick my battles. What can I tell you? I do need voice isolation. So right now I have the Extioner, or air conditioner, for those of you that speak proper English. I have the air conditioner and the compressor on. So we have that noise. That's actually making the most noise. I also have a fan right below it that blows across my three main cameras. So you're looking at the Canon R6 Mark II. Okay, to the left of it by 3 feet, there's a white fan. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's that silent type where the blade that has plastic blades, and it basically doesn't run at a super high speed, and it doesn't make a lot of noise. So I have that set to medium. I have the air conditioner. I have a fan to my left, which circulates the air around here to keep the Peter cool. Okay. And then I have a room fan that sends the air from the air conditioner out the door to cool the next room, to help cool the next room. So all that is running. Yeah, I could turn it all off, but I would overheat, and maybe the cameras would overheat. So air conditioning would be very, very minimum. All right. So tonight we're not at the minimum. We are at the maximum. Unless you had flamenco dancers and guitar players behind me, you couldn't get much louder than this. All right. So the microphone is a Shure SM57. And I changed and I disconnected the Blackmagic ATM Mini. So the ATM Mini, for those of you guys that don't know, is a switcher. You could put up to 4 cameras on it, and you could switch between camera 1, 2, 3, 4. You just push the button and it changes. But that's not being done through the ATM Mini. The ATM Mini is actually unplugged. There's no power going to it at all. All right? So what we've got now is I went from, according to Tom Buck, a low quality audio. Nobody's ever complained. I even listened back to my own shows, and I think it sounds pretty good. But right now we're running high quality. We're running an SSL2 preamp, which is bypassing everything. It's not being used. It's not running through the cameras. It's not running through the card that's running the cameras, and it's running directly into the what is it? The studio, the M2 studio. So that's what the sound is doing. Now I do have another microphone here. Do you want to do grins and giggles? Do you want me to plug this one in? What this microphone's claim to fame is it's one of the few, if possibly only, full condenser microphone that actually is directional. So it's designed for singers. The shadow of your smile when you are gone. Okay, now I'm not singing through this. Do you hear me? No, but if I pounded there, you would hear it. Okay, now if I unplug that microphone and plug this microphone in, I'd have to hand hold it for a second. But this is like $100, and you can get them as low as $50, and this is like $700-800. So if you want to know the name of this one and all that kind of good stuff, either I did or will put it in the description with a link to B&H so you can see it. So let's unplug this one just for grins and giggles. I know the title says we're going to do the citizenship thing here, and we'd actually be better off having Tom Buck running this one because he's a teacher and I'm not. I don't know what I'm doing, but it might be fun. Okay, we'll get to that eventually. Let's finish with the camera stuff. Okay, so I'm going to unplug this mic. You might get a pop, so protect your ears. All right, so this is the Lauten LS something. I'll put it in the description. Actually, I might have already put it in the description. So I'm stepping on the cable. So if I bring this up a little closer to me. Now, what I like about this microphone is it's not a dynamic microphone and it's not a miniature capsule condenser. It's a full capsule condenser. It's actually designed for singers. The shadow of your smile when you are gone. All right, so a singer would use this because it gives you a wider frequency response, range, and all that kind of good stuff. But these kind of mics are known for picking up a lot of room noise, meaning the fans that are all over the room. Let me be quiet for a second. I want to hear this myself. So it's basically where this microphone would be if I put it back in its stand. Oh, I can actually bring this a little closer to me. Okay. All right. So now they are identical to where they would normally be. Now this microphone is 7 times the price of the one that I'm normally using. All right, so I can't wait to come back and hear this guy, and I'm supposed to be aiming it at my mouth, not all over the room. All right, so let me be quiet for a second and see how the noise suppression does on this mic compared to the SM57. None of the noise compression is actually happening inside the mic, so don't let me get you confused, okay? So I'll be quiet. So this might be a louder mic. I don't know. Let me look at the levels. All right, so I'm actually running up into the high yellows on this mic. It's a more powerful mic, obviously, because the SM57 is a dynamic mic, okay, which is the internal workings of the mic, where this microphone is a condenser mic. This is one of the best you can get in terms of the type of mic. You can get a better mic. You can get a Neumann, okay, which goes into the many thousands of dollars. All right, but what this mic does that is unusual, it's supposed to suppress the surrounding background noise, which can be very exciting for someone that wants to press the quality, okay, but you don't want it with the additional all the noise that happens around the room. I'm looking around the room, there's no real noise, so it's basically I'm being demonstrative. All right. So that's what this mic sounds like. I'll be quiet again for a second because I'm going to run back and listen to this after the show's over. Now you could actually hear something that I won't be able to hear for another hour. When I finish this show, I will go lay down in bed and I will listen to this to see what it sounds like. All right, so I'm going to unplug this mic, and I think I've mentioned this twice, so this will be the third time. The noise suppression is set at number 68, okay? Not 75, not 100, and not 50. So it's 68%. I did that. I got that number from the math calculations that they do. All right, so let's unplug this guy, and I'll plug back in the one that's here all the time. All right, so this is the Shure SM57 or 50, this is the SM57. Did I say SM58? If I did, you better correct it in your mind. This is the SM57. This is an SM58. This is my Christmas mic because it's red and white. Okay, so this is an SM58 from Shure. That's the brand. This is an SM57 from Shure, the brand. Okay, this one is designed more for singers on stage because you can actually get in with your mouth. This one, if I get in with my mouth, it's going to sound quite a bit different, and I can't shout. I'd have to readjust the levels. All right, but because I bring it back here, I can talk louder. So let's put this guy back in the stand. Let me be quiet for a minute so you can hear the noise. Ready? Okay, that was the quiet session. All right, so now we're back to the way the room normally runs, and we can actually get started with the show of what's planned for tonight. But one more thing before I get started with the show. One more thing. Randy encouraged me with the Tamron. Where is the box? Right here. With this lens, let's make it so it doesn't glare, but it is glaring. Okay, so I'll read it to you. It's the Tamron 70 to 180 f2.8. So it's a high-powered telephoto, not super high-powered, zoom lens, and it's their DI3, which is their better lens, and it's the G2 model. I said all that to tell you that Randy's birds came around. I already sent this picture to Randy. Okay, so let's see if I could pop this up here and bring and put the bird picture that I took just a few hours ago. Well, actually, it was yesterday. I already sent this to Randy. So you're going to see a picture come up on the screen. Okay. So what is unusual about this picture? It looks like it's a peacock. I can't really tell because it didn't spread its wings. One of my neighbors was driving by and they saw me out there with the telephoto lens. So this is on the Sony A7C Mark II camera with the Tamron 70 to 180. So I am zoomed on all the way to 180 and I'm cropped about 30% more. I could move this around, but I'm not going to mess up the settings that I have running for tonight. All right. And here's the unusual things about this. First of all, I set this, I believe, to a shutter speed of 2000 because what ruins pictures more than anything else is if the bird moves, and birds will move. They're not going to stop and pose. So this guy, as you could tell from his feet, which his feet are mostly in this picture, okay? It's just when I dropped it here, let's see if I roll the scroll wheel, it does, oh, it does roll in and out. All right, so let's, come on, let's roll it out. There you go. All right, so you can see that I'm kind of behind the picture. So that's the whole picture there. You can see my hair. See me moving around back there? Okay, so I just kind of zoomed this in a little bit for you. I didn't remember that I could do this. So the ISO on here is, guess what the ISO is on this? 25,600 ISO. Now, let's see if I can zoom that in. Can I zoom it in even more? Okay, I'll bring it down a little bit. So I developed this. This was shot in RAW, and with the A7C Mark II, with the Tamron 70 to 180 f2.8. So this is at f2.8, and ISO 25,600. I'm saying it almost like I don't believe it because I normally don't shoot that high, but I did allow the camera to go that high. So I put the camera, when I grabbed it, I put it in S mode. I could see over on the side that Lewis said that it is a peacock. All right, I didn't know what this guy was. So Lewis is saying it's a peacock. So there, we got that one problem solved right there. Okay, so, and the shutter speed's at 1/2000th of a second. I put the camera in S mode, which means I pick the shutter and the camera handles everything else. The aperture, meaning the f-stop, and it will also set up the ISO. And I can restrict the ISO, and let's see, I'm going to erase that so we can come back to me. All right, I can restrict the low and the high of the ISO and make it work within the parameters that I set rather than the parameters that Sony set when they send me the camera. Okay, so I said you can go from 100 ISO on the low side, meaning if the camera does have anything lower, I don't want it to go lower than 100 ISO. And I set the high to 25,600, which means it can pick any ISO that it wants if I'm in the S mode, A mode, P mode, okay, to make the picture work properly. So you can put it in M mode, which means you're going to pick everything, one thing at a time. Your shutter speed, your f-stop, your ISO, and you control all of it. You look at the meter readings on the back, and you run your dials and stuff like that. But somebody that's done wedding for years, I'd let the camera do some things that it can do, but I want it to work within the parameters that I set. So if you think you're getting bored, what I'm actually saying is kind of important, because the camera could be set to only go up to ISO 6400, and it might not be enough light, so you'll get a dark picture returned. Or if the camera is set free, depending on who set the darn camera, okay, it could go up to ISO 100,000. Now, I don't want those. I want it to stop based on the camera, and the A7C Mark II is a 33 megapixel camera. So it's basically gives me a turbocharged picture because there's a lot more pixels versus the guy that you're watching right now that's broadcasting me. So how many pixels are in the camera that's broadcasting me right now? 12,000. Okay, 12 million, not thousand. Okay. So the A7 III is a full frame camera, just like the one that you're seeing that's broadcasting me now is a full frame camera, but it has 33 megapixels. This one has 12 megapixels. So if I cropped that picture as much as I cropped the picture that you saw, if I took it with this camera, you know what? On the internet, you might not be able to tell. But you take it out and print it as an 8x10 and you hand somebody the print, it's going to look a little bit grainy. And there's ways to fix that. Okay, this is not a class on that, all right? But you can fix that and get rid of that grain. So the people that have the 12 megapixel camera are not as handicapped as others would like to shout out that you are. You're only shooting with a 12 megapixel camera. Oh my God. Well, there's ways around it. Hello? All right. That is the definition of a really good photographer. Your composition is important. Yeah. All right. And your composition is not only important, your exposure, your focus, no shaking in the picture, but the ability to solve problems on the fly is just as important as your ability to take pictures, to compose pictures, to get the exposure correct. So there's a lot to photography, and that's why a lot of us our hobby is photography. All right, so now we've gone through the pictures, we've gone through the microphone. Is there anything else that I wanted to get? Well, let's go in the room here and see what the heck is happening. I've been chattering so long. Okay, so here's Peter Gregg. I don't know who this guy is. I've seen him around before, but he says the chat is now open to everyone. Well, that's not exactly true. I have it limited so I don't get attacked by the porn sites. I've had that happen. It's kind of funny. Okay, so when you're live and you get an attack from a porn site, the way it happens is not one single, hey, I'm sexy Susan, come see my naked butt and my boobs here, okay? But they'll send that message like 8 times in a row. You get bam, 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 bam. And then me that's running the show, I'll get flustered because I don't know what you're going to think about me. All of a sudden there's porn all over my chat window. No, 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 no. Nay, nay, nay. I don't want that. Okay? So there's ways that YouTube gives me to be helpful. Number one, I can put in bad words. So if you try right now to say the F word, it should not make it through. It should just disappear. I'm not even sure if it tells you that it's not going to go through. So the FU, the duck with an F, all right? If you type that word in and you put it in the comments, it should not appear, all right? Because I have that in the filters of words that don't come through. It's just the way it is, Joe. Okay, what can I tell you? All right, now another way you can do it is to keep the porn sites from blasting me with a rapid fire is to put the whole show in slow mode. So slow mode allows me to pick a number of seconds so that you can't rapid fire putting in a comment. Well, I don't have that on right now. And don't test it, please, okay? So you can make comments and there's no restriction on how often you can do it. But I do have a restriction that anybody that wants to make a comment has to be a subscriber, okay? So you would have to subscribe and I get to pick how many seconds or minutes or days that a person has to be a subscriber before they can make a comment. Now, the comments is the thing you see to the right side of your screen. Okay, I'm looking at them over on the right. That's a live comment, all right? So a porn site is usually computer generated. It's not some guy that's getting his jollies, and doing that. they basically are trying to get a person to come to their site and they're trying to pick people that want the porn stuff. So they'll put like 8 or 10 or 15 messages in a row. It would freak me out because I would see that many messages all at once, and I'm going like, oh no, we're getting bombed, you know. So the tool that I'm using right now to keep that from happening is the person has to be subscribed for X number of minutes before they can make a comment. So this is a perfect segue for me to say, hey, if you're watching me, subscribe. Then you can make a comment and I can say hello to you. So I do ask for people to subscribe. So I did turn off the slow motion because it was giving Australia some trouble. Shane, geeky nerdy techie, if I get my mouth straight on that one. Okay, so I just have that off. So a porn fast rapid fire person would have to subscribe, and even then, okay, they'd have to wait a certain number of I'm not going to say how much it is. I think it tells you, but you would have to read it unless they're able to read that. So let me get a sip of water, because I've been doing rapid fire talking since we went live. All right, so we've done that. We're at 68%. We'll find out in a second if that's satisfactory. I might have to change that. That we're back to the SM57 mic. I can let you listen to an $800 mic. And now what we've been doing this week is one of the people here in the house wants to become a U.S. citizen. So if you saw the title and you think I was trying to become a U.S. citizen, I was born in New York. I'm a U.S. citizen. My parents were born here. So I'm actually third generation, and the home country that I come from is Greece. Okay, and I could talk Greek. I can't read or write Greek anymore. I mean, I'm 71 years old now, and when you haven't done something in a long time, you know, what do they say? Use it or lose it? So I couldn't read Greek. I couldn't read Greek very well when I was a child, but I could tell you that I spoke Greek before I spoke English. My mother and dad both worked, so they left me with my grandmother. There was no grandfather. And guess what language my grandmother spoke? Guess what language my grandmother did not speak? English. So I was fluent, complete speaking Greek up until the time I started kindergarten. And then I had to do a crash course on, you know, learning to communicate with the kids in the school. And by the time I was in the first, second, third grade, you know, I was okay with English at that time. But whenever they had, this is in New York now, this is a melting pot of a lot of different people, okay? And there's a Greek area up there. The area in New York, if you're in New York, it's called Astoria. Astoria, Astoria. All right. So when I would go to school, if they had a Greek kid come and the poor kid was crying and upset and couldn't communicate, they would call me, which is why I never get upset when I'm called to the principal's office all the way through 12th grade, okay? They would call me to the principal's office at least 2-3 times a week because the school was in Astoria. A Greek kid would land up in class. Poor kid couldn't communicate. Was he upset or she upset? Hell yeah, okay? So they would call Peter. Peter, come down here. I'm talking to you in Greek now. Did you get it? What is it, my child? Well, I'm older now. I wouldn't talk to them now, say my child, you know, one 7-year-old to another 7-year-old or 8-year-old. What time? How old are we in 3rd and 4th grade? Whatever we are. Okay, so I became the interpreter. Blah, 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 blah. I would interpret and didn't get paid. So that's where we went. So now I've got a young person, and they're going to go for their U.S. citizenship test. So if you're not an illegal immigrant, but a legal immigrant, okay, and you actually eventually get your green card, which allows you to be here, which is one of the questions that I missed on the test. Okay? And I'll bet you dollar to donuts you'll miss it too. I'm not going to go to that. I'm going to go to that question first. Okay? And you have to remember the setting that you're in. You're sitting at a desk. There's a man or a woman there that is running questions past you. Okay? And they have a goal. Now, you, as the person that's being questioned, have to remember what that goal is when you're answering the questions. That's why I missed it. Okay? So one of the questions is, why do you want to be a U.S. citizen? So if you were sitting at a desk with an immigration officer, okay, and they asked you, why do you want to be a U.S. citizen? Think for a second before I tell you the answer. Some of you might get it. Like I said, Tom Buck would do a lot better at this. He's a professional teacher. I'm not, okay? But I am a professional listener, because listening is a talent that will really propel you far in life. You ought to be more interested in the other person than yourself. But most people are self-centered, and I don't mean that in a nasty way, and they just want to say what they want to say. They want to get across what they want to get across, and they're not doing the listening. But one of the keys to making friends, one of the keys to making sales, one of the keys if you're in photography, one of the keys if you're going to get on this machine here and talk to 10 people or 1 million people, is the ability to get feedback, okay? Now, the question that's presented to you, you're nervous, you're sitting here. Why do you want to be an American citizen? Now remember, I'll give you a hint, the first hint. You are trying to answer the question for a man or a woman that's listening for something. And if you don't know what they're listening for, you're going to do what I did. Well, I love this country. I'm willing to serve this country. This is the best country in the world. All those are the wrong answers. Okay? So answer it in your mind. Be truthful. There's no grades here. Okay? I know a lot of you are in Canada, or you're across the ocean, the pond as they call it. Okay? So if you're sitting in the immigration office and you're asked, why do you want to be an American citizen? Okay? What they're really asking you is, what's the difference between being an American citizen and the green card that you have right now? That's the real question. Now, if you don't know that, you ain't going to get close. Now that you know that, do you know the answer to that now? What's the difference between a person in this country that's holding a green card and a person that's a full citizen? Let's say you become a citizen, or you're like me, born in this country. I'm a citizen by birth. As a matter of fact, that's in the courts right now, because Trump turned it off, where an illegal immigrant, meaning you're not here legally, you're here illegally. Okay, there's a difference. One has broken the law to get here. The other has gone through a process, and the process is quite involved. They didn't just walk in and go, hey, hi, Lucy, I'm home. Okay, so they have some skin in the game. They've invested in getting their green card. All right. So what's the difference between a green card and a citizenship? The green card holder cannot vote, and the full-blown citizenship person can vote. Now, there are some other differences, but that's the main reason why you would step in. A green card, you've got to get it renewed, so that could be a difference, but that's not the answer they're looking for. They want you to know that by becoming a U.S. citizen, you have the right to vote. That's why you're doing it. Otherwise, stay with your green card, okay? You still pay taxes. You still get police protection, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sure those of you that even are smarter than me can start rattling off stuff, all right? But let's go through some of the easy questions that you and I can get without any trouble, okay? Now, the very first one actually caused me a problem. I knew the answer. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you are a U.S. citizen, you know the answer, but you might get confused as to what they're looking for. So here's the first question that I want to read right now. What is the supreme law of the land? Okay, it's a very simplistic question. What is the supreme law of the land? Do you know? Okay, so there's no brownie points here. So just be honest with yourself. The supreme law of the land is the Constitution. Now, I knew that, and I think you knew that, okay? But you could have said the Bill of Rights, okay? You could have said the courts or the police. I mean, my mind went in a lot of different ways. And then finally, duh, it's the Constitution, all right? And now, normally, they will center on that type of questionnaire. So what does the Constitution do is the next question. So what does the Constitution do? I'll give you 2 seconds. 1, 2, time's up. All right, so the Constitution, it sets up the parameters of the government, it defines the government, and it protects the basic rights of Americans, okay? That's what the Constitution does. I'll just read it again. It sets up the government, it defines the government, and it protects the basic rights of Americans. Now, if you are the type of person that's like me, and you want to be argumentative with these questions and answers, just back down. Just settle down. Have some water, orange juice, Coke. Have a beer, okay? We're looking to provide the answers to the officer that's sitting there. Okay, it's kind of like taking a test in school. You may not believe the answer, but you have to give the teacher the right answer to get it marked as correct, okay? So I had learned that the hard way. It's not my opinions that count in a test. It's what does the teacher want to hear to mark that correct. Give the guy or the gal, the teacher, what they want to hear. Get the answer correct, okay? So don't get argumentative with me and start writing in the comments, oh, that's not true, Peter, or this is what is from the website where you take your test, okay? So don't be arguing with me. I am not the officer that's questioning your citizenship understanding. Okay, the next question, okay, the idea of self-government is in the first 3 words of the Constitution. What are these 3 words? Now, if there's anyone here that's a U.S. citizen that doesn't get that right off the bat, you should be able to spit out how the Constitution starts in your sleep. We the people. It's got that big W with the special cursive pen. We the people. Okay? So that's an easy one. Okay? All right, so what is an amendment? That is the next one. Which camera am I on? I'm over here. What is an amendment? It's simple. An amendment is a change to the Constitution, or it's an addition to the Constitution. That's the answer that they have listed here. All right. The next one is, what do we call the first 10 amendments to the Constitution? What do we call the first 10 changes to the Constitution? The first 10 amendments to the Constitution is called the Bill of Rights. Did you know that one? Or did you kind of like have to think? Now, I know we got some Canadians in here, and you're going like, well, I didn't know that one. I didn't know this one. I hope you're finding this somewhat interesting, because if it's boring, I'm sorry. But this is what's going on in the House. I'm walking around, and I'm asking this guy, what do we call the first amendments to the first 10 amendments to the Constitution? What's the Supreme Court of the land, the supreme law of the land? The next one, what is one right or freedom that we have from the First Amendment, meaning this was the first change to the Constitution, okay? So one of them can be any of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. What is one right or freedom from the First Amendments? Free speech, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, freedom of the press, and the ability to petition the government. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, freedom of the press, and free to petition our own government. Now, this is the U.S. government, guys. All right, how many amendments does the Constitution have? I didn't get that one. I didn't know how many. Okay, it has 27. All right. So it was telling me, Peter, go faster. All right. All right. So the next question is, what did the Declaration of Independence do? See, we don't have to answer these questions all the time. So if somebody walked up to you in the street and says, what does the Declaration of Independence do? Okay. Gee, I have to think about that one. So I knew the answers once it was told to me, but I wasn't able to rattle it off. Okay. So the Declaration of Independence announced our independence from England or Great Britain, declared our independence. How is that different from the first one? Oh, announced and declared is two, okay? And said that the United States is free from Great Britain. So it basically announced our independence, declared it, it wrote it, whatever you want to say, from Great Britain. All right, so what are two rights? What are two rights in the Declaration of Independence? So if you look at the Declaration of Independence, tell me what two of the rights that are listed there. You know them. If you can't think of it, here's the gotcha. You know them, okay? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If you just say life and liberty, you got the answer correct. Okay, so the officer would say, good girl, good boy, you got it right. All right. What is the economic system of the United States? It is a capitalist economy. What is the economic system of the United States? It is a capitalist or market economy. Okay? Now, the next one is, what is the rule of law? Now, I think that's a little vague. I don't particularly like that question. Okay? But the answers are pretty good. So, what is the rule of law? Nobody is above the law. Government itself must obey the law. The leaders of the government must obey the law. And finally, everyone in this country, everyone must follow the law. Okay? That's the answers for that particular question. What is the rule of law? All right? Now, if you apply that to what's going on in the country today, you have what is in the news a lot, and that is the illegal immigrant issue. So if everybody has to follow the law, if you came in here illegally, you're already not following the law. So when you have the group of people that band together that say, well, we need to be nice to these people, blah, 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 so on and so forth, they're running away from this, or whatever story you make up, they've already broke the law by coming in illegally. And that's why it's in the news. That's why it's a point of contention. They're already here and have already committed a crime. And then there's other people that go wink, wink, blink, blink, wink, wink. You know, we need to kind of ignore that and let's go on to the next step. Well, the other group of people, maybe like me, where my family comes from Greece, and I remember my uncle and some of my cousins having to come here from Greece, all right? There was a lot of hoops that we had to help them through to get here. So before I was born, all right, my grandfather immigrated here from Greece, and you had to come here and land at Ellis Island, which is where the Statue of Liberty is, okay? That's one of the questions in the future, all right, on this page. But one of the laws was you had to have $25 cash in your pocket. Now today we would say, well, what's the big deal about that? Well, my grandfather came in the 20s. Okay, so $25 wasn't just something you found on the floor in the street. And because he didn't have $25, they rejected him and put him on the next ship back out to Greece. However, the next ship leaving wasn't a direct flight or a direct trip to Greece. It went to Australia, where you had to get a connection to go to Egypt, where you had to get a connection to go to Cyprus, where you got a connection to go to Greece. So my grandfather wound up in Egypt, okay, where he spent a couple of years and worked up, got $25, Had to restart all the papers, whatever it cost to come back in. Now that's legal immigration, which is why people like me, where we see our family suffering, or the Latin people here in South Florida, see what they have to do to get into the United States. And over in Texas, you can walk across the border. So we have a point of contention there. You've got a group of people that are going like, let's be a little more kind, okay? There's family, there's children. And then you've got another group of people like me that are saying, well, why can't my family walk across the border? Okay? And now you got two different points of views. We're not going to solve it here in this show, obviously, all right? And this show is not meant to be political either. I'm just showing that there is point of views and there's reasons for those points of views, all right? Now, the one thing that our government is doing now that the news is not telling you, okay, they're making it sound like we're in the Old West and we're rounding up people and shipping them out. No, they're rounding up people in a priority order. The people that have committed crimes that are known as criminals in their country, and I don't know how they know, okay, and those that are have committed crimes, and you've got these sanctuary cities where you can commit a crime and just be let loose, okay, those are the people that are being deported right now. They're not raiding families next door to me because they're not legal and rounding up the kids and putting them on a plane and throwing them out. But you don't get that on MSNBC and CNN. What you're getting is a very twisted, contorted lie. Okay? That is the truth. You need to hear that. So if you're like very, very pro, like, I have a friend, it's like, why are we being so mean to these people? Well, the people that are here illegally, first of all, they are here illegally. But if they haven't committed any crimes and they've gotten a job and they're scared and they're hiding, that's not who the government is rounding up. Okay? Who they are rounding up is people that are likely to kill a person or walk down the street of New York and pop an old lady on the head with a fist. All right? These are criminals. They are dangerous people. And that is who they're shipping out now. When we get to the next stage, we'll see what happens. All right? But we're not in that stage. And it's going to be a while before we get to that stage. These are the people that have been sent here on purpose to be drug dealers from the cartels in Mexico that have put them here, and they've made like a network of where you can get drugs. You can go to downtown Miami and you can buy drugs on the corner. Okay? And though a lot of them are illegal immigrants. Their connection is to the cartels in Mexico. Those are the people, and I want them out. Okay? Because we have young kids in our neighborhood. I don't want those kids to have that easy of an access to drugs. So the ones that are troublemakers, breaking the law, hurting people, killing people, robbing people, just being, plain bad, they need to go. That's my opinion. Okay? So let's get back to the questionnaire. So to finish that little thought up, we're playing games with being sweet and nice and allowing hardened criminals access to our neighborhoods. That's where the fight is being fought in the political system, okay? So let's say you are like, well, you have a mindset of being nice, all right? Well, you have to start selecting who you want to be nice to. So let's say, but just for the sake of talking, if the people next door were illegal immigrants and they're working hard and they have kids and they're not, okay? I would be more in line to protect them, okay? But if they go out with guns at night, if they got shipments of drugs coming to the house and they're next door to me, I want them gone. That's my own personal feelings, because it's just bringing that bad element one step closer to my house. Now, that's what's being reported in the news. One station like Fox will report more on the illegal, violent criminals that have records, mental cases, where MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, the people that try to tell you to think, it's like, boy, these nice people, they're working so hard. They can't get a break. And now they're running around and they're so scared because at any corner they can come, the police come just grab them, nab them. Okay? We can't have that. And Trump is doing that. That's what they're telling you. So do your own research. I'm not even going to tell you what to think. Do your own research. Okay? All right. Name one branch of government. You all can do that, even if you're not even in the United States. Okay? Name one branch of the U.S. government. All right? So if you say Congress, the president, the courts, those are the three branches of government. You can even, they will even accept the legislative branch, the executive branch, or the judicial branch. Okay? So they give you all those choices when you're standing in front of the officer. What stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful? All right? So this is something we've heard over and over and over. It's called the checks and balances, or the separation of powers. All right, so everyone that's a U.S. citizen will know the answer to this one. Who's in charge of the executive branch? The president. Okay. What makes federal laws? So where are the federal laws made? That one should be fairly easy. Congress, which is the Senate, and the House of Representatives. And I just answered this one. What are the two parts of the U.S. Congress? The Senate is on one side. So when you have that big Capitol building, there's a building on this side. There's a building on this side. The Senate is on one side. The House of Representatives is on the other side. All right, how many senators are there in the United States? 100. You know how we get that, right? There's 50 states, and there's 2 senators from each state. All right, when we elect a U.S. senator, how long is their term for in the United States? 6 years. Who is one of your state's senators now? All right, the answers will vary. Can you name a senator from your state? Think about it. If you're in Jersey, who's a senator from your state? If you're in California, who's a senator from your state? If I'm in Florida, who's a senator from my state? Okay? So each state will have a senator, and they're asking, if you go for this to get your citizenship, they're going to ask you to name one of your senators, and in the next one, okay, the House of Representatives has how many voting members? Do you know how many voting members there are? How many people are in the House of Representatives? It's 435. All right, and those are based on the amount of citizens for a state. That's how they balance the electoral vote, the House of Representatives. So one group like New York, which has got so many more people in it than a place than let's say West Virginia, well, then New York should just rule the roost. Okay, they would have all the power. But what they do is based on how many you have, they give you how many House of Representatives, how many representatives, but each state gets 2 senators. Okay. Who does the senator represent? That's an easy question. All of the state. Why do some states have more representatives than other states? And the answer is because they have more people, because of the state's population. Some states have more people. They allow 3 different answers for that one. We elect a president for how many years? 4 years. What's the month where we vote for a president? The president is voted for in the month of November. What is the name of the president of the United States right now? So depending on when you're watching this, it could change. So right now, the president is President Trump. All right. 3 months ago, who was the president? It was President Biden. Who was the president before President Biden? It was President Trump. Who was president? Because President Trump was elected. Then when he ran, Biden was elected and he became president. And then the next one, Trump was elected again. They skipped over one. So who was before President Trump in the first one? President Barack Obama. And before President Barack Obama, President George Bush. Now, if I wanted to really test you, I would say who were the vice presidents, but let's stay on this, okay? What's the name of the vice president of the United States now? Right now, it is T.D. Vance. What was the name of the vice president a month ago? A month ago, it was Kamala Harris, okay? So let's keep it rolling. If the vice president and the president can no longer serve, who becomes the president of the United States? Who takes over the seat of power? The Speaker of the House. All right, who is the commander-in-chief of the military? The president. The president is the commander-in-chief of the military. So keep in mind the answer to that question, okay? Because we're going to have a few of the same similar questions. Who signs bills to become into law? The president. Who vetoes the bills that doesn't allow them to come into law? The president. What does the president's cabinet do? The president's cabinet are the people or group of people that advises the president. What are two cabinet level positions? All you have to do is to pass this part of the test is name two. Okay? So the obvious ones, Secretary of State, Secretary of the Treasury, the Attorney General, Vice President, okay? Secretary of the Interior, Secretary of Energy, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of Agriculture. All you have to do is remember two. So if I was going to take this test, I would memorize 4 in case you get an ASS hole that's administering the test, and you answer the 2, and he goes, well, give me another one. See, the point is you want to pass this test so you can get your citizenship. What does the judicial branch do? They review the laws, they explain the laws, they resolve disputes that arise because of the laws, and decides if a law goes against the Constitution. So the judiciary branch, meaning the courts, do not make the laws. They only review it, explain it, and resolve the differences that happen in the laws. What's the name of the highest court in the land? I would be surprised if you missed that one. It's the Supreme Court. How many justices are there on the Supreme Court? Well, right now there's 9, but that has changed in case you didn't know. Who is the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court? There's 9. One of them is called the Chief. His name right now is Roberts. Chief Justice Roberts. Under our Constitution, some powers belong to the federal government. What is one power of the federal government? All right, one of the powers of the federal government is the power to print money. The courts can't print the money, and the president can't print the money. Okay? To declare war is given to the Congress. All right? To create an army is given to the Congress. To make treaties, the president can start a treaty and Congress has to finish it. All right? So these are powers that belong to the federal government. So you come under not only the federal government laws, you come under your state laws. So in Florida, with the law, one of the law, we don't pay income tax for Florida. Now, if you live in South Carolina, you have a South Carolinian income tax besides your federal income tax. And the same for Georgia. In Florida, we don't have an income tax. All right, under the Constitution, some powers actually belong to the states. What is one power that belongs to the states? Provide schooling, provide education, provide the police department protection, provide the fire departments safety. They issue the driver's license. They approve zoning and land use. Those are assigned to the states. And on the issue of abortion, where they just said, oh, they took away the abortion rights. They didn't do that at all. Okay? What they did is they took the power of who sets the abortion laws from the federal government, the president, the Senate, and the Supreme Court. They gave that right to control the abortion issue to each state individually. So we still have abortion laws, but each state does it on their own. And your state is designed to reflect the views of that group of people. So just thinking out loud, in New York is a very liberal state, and California is even more liberal, all right? Their laws on abortion do exist, okay? So when they say there's no abortion, they did away with rights for women. Bullshit, okay? In California, they're setting the rights for women. Florida, we're setting the rights for women. In Idaho, they set the rights for women. So the thing is, it's much easier for these people to get what they want if it's all in one spot. But that thing on the abortion is not in the Constitution. It was supposed to be a local issue, and they pushed it all the way up to where it became a national issue. And that was Roe versus Wade, and that's not on the test, okay? But when they did away with that and knocked it out, that source of power, the power still exists. That power didn't get thrown away. It got moved back to the states. All right, what are the two major political parties in the United States? The Democrats and the Republicans. What is the political party of the president right now? When it was President Biden, it was the Democratic Party. When it's President Trump, it's the Republican Party. When it was President Obama, it was the Democratic Party. What is the name of the Speaker of the House? Got you on that one, huh? Mike Johnson. Mike. Hey, Mike. How you doing, Mike? It's Mike Johnson. There are 4 amendments. Now, these are questions that a person is going to get tested on, okay? There are 4 amendments to the Constitution about who can vote. Tell me one of them. Citizens that have to be 18 years or older before they can vote. That's one. So if you just say citizens have to be 18 or older, you're in. You don't pay, there are 4 amendments to the Constitution. You don't have to pay a poll tax to vote. That's another amendment to the Constitution. It's a law in this land. You do not have to pay to vote, okay? Any citizen can vote. So if you are a citizen, you can vote, okay? And that's it. What is one responsibility that is only for United States citizens? All right, this is an interesting one. One responsibility that I have, but there's rules, is that I have to serve on a jury if I'm called. It's called jury duty, okay? And another responsibility is to vote in a federal election. Now, many people will give that one up. It's the lesser of two evils. I'm not even going to bother voting. If you don't vote, then your voice isn't heard. Even if you are against everything, you have a place to make your voice heard. And it isn't on the bus. It isn't on the train. It isn't in the street. Although you can have freedom of speech, but your vote is where you influence how the government goes. What are 2 rights of everyone living in the United States? You got freedom of expression. You have freedom of speech. You have freedom of assembly. You have freedom of religion. You have the right to bear arms. All you have to know is 2 of those to get the officer that's interviewing you to pass you. Who do we show loyalty to when we pledge the allegiance? We show loyalty to the United States of America and to the flag of the United States. What is one promise that you make when you become a United States citizen? Give up loyalty to other countries. Wow. We have something called dual citizenship, so that's an interesting answer. One promise would be I promise to defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States. Another promise that I would make to become a citizen is to obey the laws of the United States. Another promise is to serve in the military if I'm called upon. Another promise is to do important work if called upon. That's very vague. I don't know why they wrote it like that. And another promise is to be loyal to the United States. So when you take the oath to become a citizen, you are going to make a promise to be loyal to the United States. So if you're not loyal to the United States, that would become a problem, right? Let's see how we're doing on time here. Oh, we've hit our hour. I want to go through. I'm gonna put this aside for right now, okay? And I want to go through saying hello to you guys that are here, because that's the main reason I'm here. I want to see you. I want to talk to you. All right, here we go. So Evelyn is saying, push the on button. I pushed it, Evelyn. You're good to go. Evelyn is saying hi to Scott. I wonder why Evelyn would say hi to Scott. Did you know Scott is her son? Scotty is Evelyn's son. And Evelyn's saying hi to every boy. Evelyn, you got really good with your typing fingers. So Evelyn is saying hi to Scott. Evelyn is saying hi to Randall. Scotty's saying, hi, Mom. How you doing, Mom? Good to see you, Mom. All right. Welcome to the Cool Kids Club. Yeah, we are the cool kids. Okay. Randy says, I took the test twice and missed 3. One has to be updated to change the president's party. Yeah, well, they didn't answer that here. They just asked who it was, and the answer was it depends on who is the person. There's another one in there that the answer is Woodrow Wilson. I don't know that much about Woodrow Wilson, but let's stay on saying hi to everybody. So Randy says, okay, I got the president wrong because the test still thinks Trump is a Democrat. What test are you looking at? Look up the 2025 test. Because if you're helping somebody, you should use the 2025 test. Because the point of this, of what I just went through, isn't it to argue with people. I'm using this to help and coach someone to pass the test so that they can become a U.S. citizen. So the answers change. So if you are actually helping somebody, then go ahead and get the 2025 updated version because they do keep it up to date. So Woody's saying hi, and Randy's saying hi to Evelyn. And by the way, I love all you guys. Peter, it looks like we both got haircuts this week. Yeah, I did my haircut. I used the Flowbee, which is controversial. The Flowbee is a self haircutting machine. You attach, okay, the vacuum cleaner to a hose, and it's got these blades at the end that go, okay. So when you pull your hair, when it sucks up your hair, you put a spacer, and hold on. Achoo! Sorry. I wonder how the voice isolation did on that. Okay, that snuck up on me. I didn't mean to sneeze in your ear. Okay, so thank you to everybody who said God bless you. All right, so the Flowbee machine is still sold. Flowby, and that's how I cut my hair. And then of course I've got the electric like you get in the barber shop, and I clean my neck. I do the sideburns. Then I shave, and then before I came on live tonight, I took a shower, washed my hair, brushed my teeth, cleaned behind my ears. I mean, how personal do you guys want to get? So Lewis is saying hi to everybody. Hi, Lewis. Woody told me to make a video, how you taught me to clean my connection. I'm going to do that. Jim is here. Hi, Jim. Hi, Peter and everybody. Happy Friday. Love you, Lewis. Love you, Jim. Love everybody. Here's Carlos. What's up, people? And he is Bouquet Bashudo, and he's in California. So saying hi to Carlos. He usually calls in between his customers. He's a professional psychologist. Image quality of the Sony is crushing the Canon. Oh yeah, the A. That's too far back for me to remember, Scotty. Sorry. Nikon looks the best. I'm going to pass those, Scotty. Don't be offended. I like the second mic you plugged in at 1011. So it's not this one, but it was the more expensive one, the $700 mic. Okay, I am officially taking donations to be able to buy this mic. I would have to raise $700 to buy this mic, and then it would sit over here. And I will, Woody, I will go back and listen to the quality. You could bet your bippy, as they would say, because $700 versus $100, okay? And you know what? It might sound strange, and I might sound like I'm being a little bit sassy. It's not the money. I want to hear the sound, okay? So this mic should take me to the head of the class. I would buy this mic over even buying any dynamic mic, including what is the very expensive one from Shure that everybody uses. It looks like a barrel, okay? And everybody uses that because it's the cool mic. Not me. I want to use this one, okay? Because if I want to sing a song and put it on my singing channel, which I haven't done in a while, but I can use this mic. I can sing in this because it's a full condenser mic, and it's a full-size condenser too, which I think full-size condensers are 1 inch, but I'm not sure. Okay. So Woody is going for the other mic. Randy says $598 directional mic is see, second guy that's mentioning the directional mic is much better. Well, he lowered. I thought it said $798. Are you right, Randy? Is it $598? Then we only need to raise $600. So those of you that was going to send $700 in so I could buy that mic and not send it back. Oh, this is from B&H. In case you're wondering, where'd you get it, Peter? I don't own it. It's from B&H. Right here. Okay. So somebody wants to buy this mic. We will take this one off. We will put this on, and it will be called whatever your name is. That'll be that mic. So if it's Jehoshaphat's mic, it'll be called that mic. Okay? That's my commercial for raising the money for the mic. Did you get that? Or did it go right over your head? Okay. So Scotty says the Lauten LS208 is a full 1 inch capsule. Well, click on the link in the description and it'll give you the specs because I don't have that memorized. This is not even a condenser mic, the one that you're listening to right now. If I can stop from spinning. Okay. This is what they call a dynamic mic. You don't have to power that mic for it to work. Travis is here. Noise suppression sounds splendid right now. I hear nothing. Thank you, Travis. That would have been one of the things that I would go look for. So based on what he just said, I'm going to be quiet for 5 seconds. Okay. So like I said before, I'm running the air conditioner, a fan over there, a fan over there, a fan over there. So we've got 3 fans and an air conditioner running. None of the equipment is making any noise, to be honest with you. All right. So if I turned off all the fans in the air conditioner, this room has no windows and only a door, so it has no outside sound. It's a wooden roof. Okay. It's a wood roof. So if something happened outside, the sound wouldn't come through the concrete block wall, but it would get transmitted in here through the wooden roof. Okay, so Travis, love you, Travis. Thank you for coming in and making your comments. I also have the 7180 Tamron, and I love using it also for live streams. I put it on the Nikon last week. Okay, actually, when I look back, it did pretty good, and it's an f2.8. So the one that you're looking at now, well, not right now, but when it gets over to the Nikon, it's an f1.8. You want to know something? The bokeh, the blur in the background look really, really good on that lens. So you could actually buy that lens, have a zoom lens. It's a 2.8. It doesn't get quite down to 50 millimeters, but it'll come down to 70. It's probably why Randy liked that lens so much. So Randy says, remember, folks, the noise suppression only works only on the Ecamm beta version. All right, so what Randy is saying is really very important. So if you have Ecamm, okay, the one that is issued by Ecamm, you don't have that. But Ecamm has a beta, which is available to everybody that owns Ecamm already. and you can download it, and it's free. And they update that at least once every week or two. Every little thing that they want to test, that goes in the beta. So if you're not the kind of guy that wants that, don't get the beta. I like that, okay? So, and plus I can always back up one if I need to. I don't just download it and then throw the old ones away. So I can reinstall if I need to. Plus, I do have the official release. So if I get totally screwed up on Ecamm, I could just go over to the official release, which doesn't have some of these fancy dancy stuff in it. But I'm very intimate with the software. I do give them feedback, but not too often. They've got enough people that's getting feedback from them now, where I don't need to do that. But what I did do is move the audio sound that you're getting now out from the chain that I normally use, which would be from the mic into a Yamaha mixer, into an ATM mini unit, into a Blackmagic card that takes the 4 cameras, and into the computer. So now the cameras go into the card that gives them the signal, so I can run 4 4K cameras at the same time, and I actually am. Okay, right now there's 4 4K cameras operational. Okay, the 3 that are in front of me, 1 on the ceiling. And that is going through a Blackmagic, they call it a quad HDMI recording card, and that goes directly into my Apple computer, the Apple Studio M2. Okay, and I even had the audio going through another system, then going through that card, then coming to the computer, and then going into your ears. Over here you are, okay? So I changed that because of Tom Buck, all right? And now we're going from the SSL2, which is the brand name of a preamp. So the mic is going into the SSL2 with a XLR connection, and that is going out by USB-C directly into, which is under the desk, okay, into the Studio M2 Apple computer. And there is no other in between. It's direct. Only Ecamm is influencing the audio at this particular time, okay? Some of you liked a little bit of the technical, so I don't mean to get that technical, but those of you want it, you got it, okay? You asked for it, you got it. So Travis, good for you. You know what? The DI3 VC, the DI3 series lens is Tamron's flagship lenses. So if you have the same lens, you've got the equivalent of a high-end Sony. So you saved yourself some bucks, and you've also got a high-quality lens in the bargain. So where was I? Randy was saying that the noise suppression is only for you guys that actually have the beta version of Ecamm. Good point, Randy. One for you. You can go get your frappe mocha now. For those wondering, condenser mics require 48 volts of phantom power from your board. So this mic, I cannot plug it directly into the camera. It would be dead. So this has an XLR connection. See how it's got the 3 little things there? Okay. So this is where I can actually show off. I could show off my overhead camera. Let's do that. Okay. All right. So, okay. See the 3 plugs there? That makes that an XLR connection. So I have to plug a cable in there. That's an XLR plug. And one of those pins carries power because the condenser part of the mic that's in the head here requires power to make it move so that it hears my voice. Okay, so that becomes very important. If you're not going to be giving it 48 volts of power, and they call it phantom power, it's a fancy word, okay, but that's how it's become known in the industry. Those of you that want to buy this mic for me to use here, $600. The email address, PayPal, Zelle, use that email address down there. Okay, so But I'm fine with this mic. It's 50% joking and 50% I like the mic because I can sing with it. And that's important to me because I will break out in happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, all you birthday people. Happy birthday to you. So, what I lost, I'm not in this mic, I'm on that mic. Okay. So, what I lost is I don't have the reverb. There's nothing in the audio chain right now that will give me reverb. It's supposed to be inside of the Ecamm update, but I've never been able to make it work yet. I haven't applied myself very well, but I haven't been able to make it work. Okay, so Scotty is correct. The dynamic mic, you can actually plug this into your camera. And it will work, but it's very low in sound. It needs like a booster, okay? So Tom Buck and actually Sly is one of the people that has gone through a lot of mics, and Randy is where the channels where you would look to select out the mics for what you would want to run. But the people that we have in here, you guys are pretty much up to date on the mics, okay? But if you needed to dive deeper into it, those are the guys that you would go to for getting it. Now, if you want to know about singing mics, I have a little experience with that, okay? So Scotty says, less self-noise is in the Shure SM57, but the Lauten mic is a hotter mic, probably due to the phantom power. Probably true, and chances are, Scotty, if I go back to the 75 or 72% from the 68, it might get rid of that extra noise that you're hearing, because it's basically what I heard with this mic right now, that I brought it down to 68 to get a little cleaner sound. So I would have to do the testing. Oh, the bird shots? Sweet. Yeah. Anybody that would know, can I put a bird feeder in my backyard here in Miami? Would it attract any birds? Because I like taking pictures of birds. I'm getting jealous of Woody, who's our professional resident in-bird person at the moment, because I don't know anybody else in here that shoots birds. Okay, so here's Lewis. He's saying, yes, it's a peacock, but I did see that while I was talking. Here's Anthony from the Joneses. Hey, Peter, what a beautiful bird picture. Thanks, Anthony. How you doing, buddy? I haven't heard from you in a while. And Anthony, you will come in every once in a while. I might not hear from you for a month or two, and then all of a sudden, kabam! Anthony is in the house. So thank you for coming in. Are you called Anthony? Because I know that that's what you said. And maybe you've got for your friends, what do they call you? That would be the best thing. Is it Anthony? Is there another? Tony comes from Anthony. But I don't like to play with somebody's name. I like to get permission straight from the source. Okay. So here's Phil. Hi, Peter. How you doing, Phil? Sagapo. Hi to your wife. Yasu, Kitapediasu. He's Greek, and that's why I'm talking to him in Greeky. Okay. Sly is here. Oh, Sly, I tried to call you, and I got this French person comes on, and and then I forgot to call back. Okay. So she's answering the question because she wasn't on Tuesday night, and I set the alarm. The one time I did it right and I was awake, she didn't come on. Okay, recovering from a bronchial infection. I'm so ready for spring. Spring has sprung. Sorry. I lost all my liquids. I got a hair in my mouth. Alrighty, so I'm glad you're feeling better. She says she's recovering. So I will try to give her a call tomorrow. Not too early because she's an hour behind. And then I wake her up too early. And it's, no. Give the woman a chance to sleep. Catch up on her sleep. So I saw your new haircut. Wow, is that different? You made me jealous. I had to do a haircut myself. Okay. Now our haircuts look a little bit the same. Which, this side is sticking out too much. The show's almost over. The hair is what it is. And so, love you, Sly. You know you're in our prayers, my prayers especially. And if you have a bronchial infection, I guess you didn't get, you're getting the little man this week. Or maybe you did. I'll find out tomorrow. So, Shane's here from In the Blues. Hi, everybody. You know, Shane, I was going to name this particular show. My favorite camera is the ZVE1. And then the last minute, I've been going through these questions and answers on, let's see if we can pick out another one that's interesting. One that I missed, okay? Who wrote the Declaration of Independence? Do you know who wrote it? Who wrote it? Thomas Jefferson. Okay. When was the Declaration of Independence adopted? That would be the birthday of the country, July 4th, 1776. There were 13 original states. Name 3. What happened at the Constitutional Convention? The Federalist Papers supported the passage of the Constitution. Name one of the writers. James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and John Jay, and somebody called Publius. That doesn't ring a bell. What is the one thing Benjamin Franklin is famous for? I always thought it was the kite. Didn't he fly a kite with a keyring on it and get zapped? Well, it's not listed. So don't answer that with what I just said. You'll have it wrong. Okay. Who's the father of our country? Who was the first president? The answer is the same on both. George Washington. Okay. What area did the United States buy from France in 1803? That's Louisiana. So if you live in Louisiana, welcome home from France. Okay, I'm looking for the one where the answer is Woodrow Wilson. All right, here it is. Who was the president during World War I? That's one of the questions they can ask you if you go to get your U.S. citizenship. Who was the president during World War I? Woodrow Wilson. Who was the president during World War II? FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I missed the Woodrow Wilson one, okay? Now, I know the presidents from when I was born, and because of my age, is from Eisenhower all the way up till now, okay? Let's put this down because I'll keep reading the wrong thing, and I want to be paying attention to you guys. So I was saying hi to Shane. Shane, my favorite camera is the ZVE1. The camera that I use the most for pictures and grab and run is the A7C Mark II. Okay? Just saying. Mookie says, hi, everybody. I hope you all do well on the test. There's only one person, Mook, that's taken the test. Here's Mark. Mark. How's it going, Peter? My Philadelphia Eagles play this Sunday. Go Birds. My only main question is I don't know either team, but I do have a quarterback that I like, Patrick Mahomes. Is he on either one of the teams that are playing? If he is, I'll be rooting for that team. Other than that, the one interesting thing is this is the first time in 10 or 15 years that a U.S. president is actually going physically to the Super Bowl. So President Trump is actually going to the Super Bowl. And I have heard people say that's going to make it more dangerous, and I have heard people say that's going to make it safer. Well, logically speaking, I would think it's going to make it safer, okay? Because it's going to be buttoned down pretty tight. And they will be watching because who's coming in and who's going out. But anyway, I'm not into NFL. I'm not an NFL person. And this is not anything against you, Mark. Don't get mad at me and slap me down, okay? But this is Mark, the Sports Corner, okay? If you want to go see Mark, you type in the Sports Corner, okay? And look for that avatar, and you'll find Mark. Mark is one of the family here, okay? So I forgot where I was going. Oh, I'm not into football. The players, yes, there's a lot of players that I would like. But the NFL, no. I'm done with the NFL. They have angered me one time too many, okay? And Scotty says it perfectly. There's a football game on Sunday. Is there a football game on Sunday? I don't know. I heard there may be one. So, can't tell. but I like the commercials. Now, there was an article that I just read actually last night while I was being bored and just reading all over the internet. It's amazing how little television I watch now, almost none. I watch a lot of YouTube and I'll read articles on my favorite places to visit. And what was I reading? I forgot what I was going to say. Something that I read. Oh, the commercials. And they showed the list of commercials. Some of them are pretty smart. Budweiser is going to have a commercial in there. Wow. Bud has gone the wrong way for me. So I will never go back to Bud beer. Okay. And I used to love the Clydesdales. If they're smart, they'll focus in on the Clydesdales because they warm your heart when you watch them. Okay. But when they went all crazy that when you pick up a Bud, when you pick up a beer, their commercials were you're supporting the gay men and women. My beer is for me to drink. I don't want it to talk. I want it to keep quiet. I don't want it to mean something because I drink a beer. Well, when they did that, I'm out. Okay. Now, I don't know who took over beer and is the number one position in beer, but I heard they dropped out of first place. So one of you guys could educate me on that. So Mike Man is here. Peter, is that a glass of tequila you're drinking? No, it's vodka. Or is it gin? Do I look a little drunk? Is the room swaying? Oh my God, I have to hold on. Who the hell is rocking this room? Okay. No, it's just water, but it's went through 3 filters. Yeah, that's my tequila. Who made that song famous? Mike Man. Who's bum ba bum ba bum 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 ba bum ba bum ba 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 bum bum ba 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 bum bum tequila. What's the name of that song? Well, I just said it. So who played it? Hal is here. Oh, by the way, love you, Mike Man. Thank you for coming in. Love you, Hal. Hi to you. How are you doing? Here's Norm. Love you, Norm. Merry Christmas, Peter. Sorry to show up late. Very interesting live stream. I will watch the full replay. Oh, if you're watching this on the rewind, please make a comment because it'll be activity on the channel. And then YouTube decides if they're going to push it or not. So that's the reason people on YouTube will go, comment, give it a thumbs up. You know, they need the activity. And the YouTube algorithm is measuring, there's no activity here. Why should we, why should we push it? That kind of a thing. So if you're watching it on the rewind, even if you're watching this live, come back tomorrow and put a comment and be nice to me, okay? Don't be mean. This is a family setting. Okay. Mikeman is the Shure SM7B. That's the one I couldn't think of. Thank you. With more woolly and vintage sound, but there are many others that sound more open and modern, making them better for a variety of applications. Yeah, the SM7B, honestly, Mike Man, I couldn't think of the name. I think it's 71 years old. The SM7B somehow slipped out of my brain. I don't know how, but it did. But that's the mic that makes you look cool. If you are running a show and you have the SM7B, okay, the SM7B, you just look cool. But even as cool as that would make me sound, I want the condenser mic because I do singing. So, Mike Man, if you didn't know, oh my God, what's the name of my channel that is where I have singing on? I think it's called Peter Gregg TV. So if you look for Peter Gregg TV, you'll hear me singing with a variety of different mics. I actually like that one that's got like a circle because it's got a vintage look to it and it makes me sound pretty good. Okay. But I like that mic too. So let me ask you a question. Would I go more for the looks of the mic that's got that round wheel and it looks like a vodeo-do, a vodeo-do, a vodeo-do, ba-dum-bum-dum? Winchester Cathedral, you're breaking me down. Okay, would I go? Now, the mic doesn't make you sound like that. I'm just trying to invoke a vintage mic look, okay? Or this one, because they're both the same price. They're both $700. And they're both condenser mics, and they're both 1-inch condensers, okay? This one, but they're opposite. The one I'm talking about is the name of the mic is called Louise, like the lady's name, and it's Ear Trumpet Labs. It's not in the description, okay? And its claim to fame is it's more open and airy. So if we had 3 of you guys here with me, and we were all singing something, I'm trying to think of a song, probably a Beatles song. Something in the way she moves attracts me like no other lover. Something in the way she woos me. All right, so this one is a condenser singing mic. And the one I'm talking about, Louise, okay, is a condenser singing mic. I have to put my glasses on to see what camera I'm on. This guy, okay. And I would say 60% of my album, my Christmas album, I did it on Louise, the Ear Trumpet Labs mic. So I'm actually naturally partial to that mic. However, this one is new, and it pushes away the background noise. It's still a 1-inch condenser, and it sounds very good. You know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to sing a song, not now, okay? I'm going to record a song and fully process it, equalize it, put it through its paces, and just see how this does. And that'll tell me right off the bat if I'd rather have Louise or the 208. This is the 208. 208. That's what I got, is the 208. Okay, let's finish up here. So we could say goodbye for a week. So what is the date today? Oh, you know what's coming up? Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day should happen. You guys that have girls, you guys that have wives, you guys that have girlfriends, you guys that have wives and girlfriends, you guys that have moms, you guys that have anything that's a sweetheart, or someone that you want to say, I don't know, a love gesture. Valentine's Day is coming up. Of course, for the romantic thing, roses is it. So don't be listening to all these bullcrap commercials, teddy bears, balloons. Yeah, you can add that. Chocolates? Ooh, okay. You want to get to my heart? Chocolate. Hello. Okay. But roses. Roses is the direct road all the way down to a girl's heart. So I grew up in the flower business, so I have seen it over and over and over. So there we go. We have reached the end, and we are being taken out again with the same Randall. Good night, everybody. Have a great week. He's got a channel. It's called Randall Brander. Thank you for being here. I love you, each one of you. And what's my saying? I'll see you next week, God willing, and the bridge isn't up. All right. Later, Gator. Good night from Randy, and good night to all of you. And Miami, Florida, Peter, Greg, over and out. Bang!